Hey everyone, welcome back to the Pip and Pin Podcast. My name is Megan Nodecker and I'm a knitwear designer from Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. Today is February 20th and it is episode 49 and it is a beautifully sunny day today. I know lots of places still have winter, but end of February, March, starting to feel a bit like spring here in on the West Coast, and yeah, it's very exciting. There's already some snowdrops that I've seen popping up walking Georgia to school, so spring is on its way and I'm very excited. The past 3 days have been cold, like it's still cold outside, but it's sunny. And like, don't get me wrong, springtime in the Pacific Northwest is not actually usually super nice. I mean, we don't have snow and we don't have anything, but it's gonna rain. It's gonna rain a lot. So these past few days of sunshine have been really nice. I went for a really long walk this morning, which was great. Georgia was homesick for the past 2 days, so we didn't really get to do too much. She's okay, just a cold. So we went out for a little walk one of the days. But yesterday we didn't really get a chance to do anything. So we did hang out in the only room in our house that gets direct sunlight this time of year. So we just hung out on my bed while there was sun in there. It was very lovely. Sunshine. Very exciting. As I said, I'm Megan. I design knitting patterns. You can find me on Instagram as Pip and Pin, on Ravelry as Knit Pip and Pin, and in the Ravelry group, which is Pip and Pin, and that's where I usually run all of my knit-alongs and things like that. If you have any questions, you can ask them there. I've noticed I had some people send me direct messages on Instagram lately, and the way Instagram does messages, I probably won't see them. I very rarely check. Like, they kind of do it into two things, like the people that you know and the people that you don't know. So if you're someone that I haven't talked to on Instagram before, it goes into like this separate folder thing that I rarely check. So don't send me messages there. If you need to get a hold of me, Ravelry is a great way to do it, or through email, which is support@pipandpin.ca. So any of those ways to get a hold of me is great. Not Instagram. I think today we're going to start off with some knit-along stuff, because I have one knit-along that has finished and one knit-along that has just started. So we're going to start with the finished one. And that was the Wintertime mini-along, and it was knit-along really having to do with mini skeins, pretty self-explanatory. We had lots of great entries. I think there was over 70 entries in the finished object thread. So thank you so much to everyone who participated in that. And I have some prizes to give out. I have one grand prize, which I pulled all the things from the finished objects thread. So I pulled one grand prize and then 5 runner-ups. The runners-up will receive a code through Ravelry. Hasn't been done yet, but it will be done by the time this is uploaded. A code through Ravelry for any of my self-published patterns. So, the runners-up I'll do first, actually. The runners-up for that are Kate My Heart. And she did an old soul beanie using lots of different scraps in, I think it was like blue and yellow. Really, really pretty. Sunstars, who's Amy, she did a pair of sprocket socks, which is a pattern designed by myself. Craft Ademic, who is Shoshana, she did some green and yellow sprocket socks, which were really pretty. Crochet Geek Girl, who's Jessica, who's always a really great supporter of knit-alongs. So thanks Jessica. She did the Jingle Jangle socks, which was this color work pattern. Really beautiful. Maybe I'll pop some pictures up as I'm talking about them. And then I wrote this down wrong. Or not wrong, just illegibly. A top bing, maybe? Anna, and she did a white strange brew with this like rainbow yoke. super cute and pretty. So congrats to all of the runners up. I will be contacting you through Ravelry with a code for any of my self-published patterns. So thanks for everyone who entered. Let's get to the grand prize winner. So for this knit along, I just kind of slipped my mind. I never really said what the prize was gonna be. So yesterday I made a prize. And if you've been following me or if you maybe participated in it before, I do something called the mini skein sock swap. And it is an event to do with mini skeins. I'm not going to go into too much depth today, but I want to do another one this spring, and I've been trying to find ways to make it easier for me, because basically it consists of me winding skeins of yarn into mini skeins and then putting them into little packages and sending them back out. It's very labor intensive the way I was doing it before, so I've been brainstorming and trying to find ways to make it less intense. So I've been making some mini skeins, and so I put together a mini skein set, which is really fun. I really like putting colors together and kind of putting things that you might not think to put together. So I put together a mini skein set for the winner, and I'll show you those now. And so that is this set here. And if you did our swap before, you'll notice before I was winding them into little tiny cakes that you could use right away. But I found a way to make them hanks, like tiny hanks, unicorn tails as Georgia calls them, and it's much easier. So I think this is the way that I'm going to do the swap from now on. I'm going on a tangent about the swap now. We're talking about this prize pack. Anyway, so the yarns that I've used for this is Mid-Knit Cravings in Grow, which is this beautiful green. This is 6 and 7 fiber in Hogwarts A History. This one is Poppy Yarn and Fiber in Silk Stocking. This one is Hedgehog Fibers in Teacup. It's very lovely, lightly speckled, creamy white. And then this lovely orangey, rusty color of my life is Flock Fiber in the Spiced Pecan colorway. So there's that little set there that will go out to the winner, as well as a wooden needle case. These are something I carry in my shop and I love so much. And they come with 3 little darning needles as well. And this is the light wood version. I'm still waiting. I have an order coming for the darker ones. They just haven't shown up yet. And then a little pack of Pip and Pin stitch markers. All of that to say, the winner of this prize is Tangled 5 Sticks, who is Liz. So congrats, Liz. Thank you so much for entering. She entered with a pair of like neon bright rainbow sprocket socks, which were super fun. So yeah, I will contact you on Ravelry as well, Liz, and send that out to you as soon as possible. Yeah, just thanks for everyone who entered. This has probably been one of my most successful knit-alongs. I did start another knit-along last week, 2 weeks ago. I will pop in a link to the video for it here, and that is the Fix It or Forget It make-along. All the information about this make-along is in the video if you want to go check it out. It's also on in a Ravelry group. There's a couple forum threads there about it, which I will definitely link to at the bottom here. Basically, this is about having, because we all have those finished objects that just weren't quite right, or things that need mending, things like that. So it's about fixing the things that we need to fix, or forgetting about the project entirely. So I am actually participating in this as well. And my goal, because I have lots of little things to do and that I've been wanting to do for a long time, my goal is to do one thing from my list a week. And then by the end of the knit along, all of my stuff that I want to do should be done. So the first thing I did, I had a Mount Pleasant tea, and it was beautiful, but it was just never the right shape for me. So I frogged it, and this is what I came out with. And this yarn is beautiful. This is Sweet Fiber Cashmerino, and it's her fingering MCN, Merino Nylon Cashmere base. And it's just lovely. And I made this top 2 years ago, and it was one of those things where I would put it on and then I would take it off. And then I'd put it on and then I would change my mind and take it off. Like, I was just never very comfortable in it. So I frogged it, and I actually frogged the yarn so it was all noodly, and then I skeined it up on my Amish Swift and hanked it, skeined it. I don't know exactly the terminology, how you would say that, but I made it into hanks and skeins of yarn. And then I rinsed it in some oil wash, banged it out a little bit, and then just let it dry. And now it is ready to use again. And I actually have 2 additional skeins of this. So I haven't weighed it, but I know there was obviously some, this isn't 2 full skeins, because there was some that, obviously got wasted or used or whatever for other things. But yeah, I have nearly 4 skeins of it now, so I can make it into something. I actually have an idea for it, and it is along the same lines as the Mayma cardigan, but I haven't started it yet, and that's something for later. Yeah, so that was my entry into the Fix It or Forget It make along. And some people have already finished some things. There was someone who had lengthened some sleeves. There was Sam, who hosts the Handmade My Knitting podcast. I don't know if she's posted it yet or not. I told her to. But she actually over-dyed a shawl because she just didn't like the colors that it was. So she dyed it black, and that totally counts. If you have any questions about what is eligible and what is not eligible, that's exactly what the group is for. I am in there chattering away as well. So if you have any questions like that, feel free to join in on the forum there. Yeah. There was one other thing I wanted to say about that, I feel like. Oh, yeah, I guess I just have like the other things on my list. I have that hem of one of Justin's sweaters to do. I noticed the other day the sweater that he wears like literally every day has a hole in the armpit, and there's a little hole on the collar. I mean, that's made with Briggs & Little Sport, so it's a very like sticky woolly wool. So it's not unraveling or anything, but it definitely needs to get mended before it gets any worse. What else do I have? I have a sweater that I want to make into a cardigan, maybe. And some other things. Yeah, so I have lots on my list that I will slowly work through. I think one a week. One a week is a good goal, because most of them will only take a couple hours to do. And that's the whole point. Like, these are things that don't actually take a lot of time, but it's never very much fun going back to an old project that's already finished. So I hope that this is some motivation for you as well, because it's definitely motivating me. On to actual knitting stuff. I do have some finished objects, kind of, maybe. I'm going to start with this one. Now, the reason I say that this is kind of a finished object is, yes, it is all bound off. I haven't woven in ends yet, but it has been blocked. But there are some changes that I want to make to it. And I will explain those in a minute. But this is my Once in Floral sweater. This is a pattern by Max and Cyr. It's a fingering weight sweater with this beautiful, beautiful color work here. I'm using all Knit Picks yarn. I'm using the Stroll Tweed in Welly's Heather for the body, in Oyster Heather for this white, and then in Capretta Embers Heather for the roses. This was a really, really, really fun pattern to make. The color work was engaging and challenging. It's not something that I've really done before, so that was really great. I did make some modifications to the body. What did I do? A couple things. I did the yoke in the size large because I wanted the wider neckline. I may even go back. Sorry, am I banging? Oh, shoot. Yeah, I am. I may even go back and take out this collar. I know Jaden, who has Midnight Cravings, she did an I-cord bind off for the collar because I know she likes kind of the wider neck as well. And I might do that. It's not too tight and it's not too high, but I might wear it more if it was just a little more open. And that's the reason why I cast on the large, was because I wanted the bigger neckline. A lot of them come right up kind of like a crew, and that's just not for me. About here is the maximum that I'm willing to go up. When I get hot right here. And then I can't get cold again, so I'd rather just have it open. And then for the body and the sleeves, I did go down to the size medium because I wanted it a little bit, just because of my gauge, I wanted it a little bit oversized, but not super oversized. And just doing the large and going down to the medium was going to give me kind of what I wanted. The yarn, it did stretch out quite a bit because it's superwash yarn. When I blocked it, I was expecting that. And I was actually hoping for that in the body. It did pretty much exactly what I expected it to do. But another modification that I made was I did add some waist shaping, which you might be able to, yeah, you can see it a little bit there. And I thought it was a good idea. And maybe for a different sweater, it would have been a good idea. But I wanted this to be like kind of sweatshirty, and I thought that if I still had positive ease while doing the shaping, it would give me the look that I wanted. But I think I should have just did it straight, honestly, because right now the sleeves are perfect and they're kind of slouchy, and the yoke is perfect and it's kind of slouchy, but then it goes a little bit fitted here, and not fitted, but just skimming. And they don't go together really. Now, I'm not going to rip out the whole thing and do it because the reason why I knit this sweater, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why I knit this sweater was Sam and I are going to the Rose City Yarn Crawl in about 2 weeks. So we wanted to wear our Once and Floral sweaters to Portland for the Rose City Yarn Crawl. So I definitely don't want to rip out the body and redo it and be pressed for time and then not have a sweater to wear. So I'm not doing that. I'm going to weave in my ends and, well, at least for like the collar and the sleeves and the things that I'm definitely not going to change. But if you can see here, I have stitch markers because I was counting exactly how many stitches I had at the top of the bust there, just right at the top of the body. Because what I've decided to do is I have provisionally cast on, this is going to look like nothing. I've provisionally cast on 200 and something stitches. And I am going to knit a tube. I think I have to increase 8 stitches somewhere in there because the bottom is a little bit wider than the top, which is fine. But anyways, so I'm just going to knit a tube. And if I can knit long enough in the 2 weeks, that's great. Then I'm just going to pretty much, I have lots of extra yarn, so that's why I can do this as well. I have 4 more skeins of this, so like 200 grams. So knitting basically a whole nother body doesn't affect my yarn usage at all. So yeah, I'm just going to knit a tube. I'm going to knit I think my shaping starts around here somewhere, a couple inches underneath the armpit. And then when I'm done my tube, because I want it a little bit longer too, I did it a little shorter than I should have. So basically I'll be cutting out this section. And then grafting in, I'll have to cut it in half and then Kitchener it all together, which will be super annoying, but totally worth it. Because man, this bottom hem, because I did twisted rib as well, because I just find it neater. It took a lot of time and it was pretty annoying. I don't want to do that again. So plus there's like some inches that I can save as well. So yeah, I'll really only have to do a tube about this long. Oh, plus a couple inches because I want to add a bit. And then I can graft it all together and then block it, and hopefully no one will be able to tell. Hopefully I can Kitchener loose enough that it will match the tension of my knitting. And if not, it's black yarn, so it will be very forgiving. So if I can get this done in 2 weeks, then that's what I will do. If not, I mean, it's a totally 100% wearable sweater, and I will be wearing it regardless. So you will see me on, I think I'm going to wear it on Saturday. You'll see me in it on Saturday, unless it's hot outside. The other finished object I have is also kind of a not really finished object, only in the sense that it's a finished thing, but it's not quite what I want. Last year at Knit City, I kind of impulsively bought some yarn, as one does at a yarn festival. I got 4 skeins of this. Well, 2 skeins of this and one of this. This is Union Fiber, Union DK. This pinky kind of speckly color is Venice Peach. This black is Misunderstood, and this kind of brown is called Corrode. And I just saw them and I fell in love with them and I loved them together. And it was one of those things where I instantly had an idea for a shawl. And I've had this idea since Knit City, and I finally caked up the yarn and I was going to knit it. And I decided to do a swatch first. And this has been ripped out and redone many, many times. But basically, this was my kind of ongoing swatch of ideas. And as I was doing it, my ideas morphed because what I originally thought definitely wasn't going to work. So I was just trying out lots of different things. Eventually I settled on something completely different, and it's not even a shawl anymore. So I ended up with this. It is a cowl, and it's kind of in my favorite style of cowl, where it goes kind of down like that. I was going to add a tassel there. Again, I don't have ends. But it's not exactly perfect in many ways. This is not the finished product. The yarn is really lovely. I love the color of it, and it feels very nice. But the shape isn't quite what I want it, and just the overall thing. I might go back to a shawl or something similar. We will see. If I continue with this shape, there's one big thing that really bothers me, and it is this bit that hangs up, because this is the front. So this shouldn't be higher. I'm not going to put it on because it's kind of annoying to put on. But I found that I was basically just folding it like this to make it straight. So something would have to be done with the shaping there to fix that issue. I like the color work, but it's not exactly it's just not there yet. So this was definitely, a really quick little knit, so I don't feel bad about, and I'm not going to be heartbroken if I have to rip it out. I am going to rip it out because it's not, no, I don't know. I'm probably going to rip it out, and I'm going to just continue working on that idea. And now it has morphed into maybe something with some slip stitches, maybe some it needs to be bigger. I don't know. I have all this lovely yarn, and I was like, oh yeah, I could just have a one skein kind of thing and da 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 da. But no, or do a set. But no, I just need to make it big. And I didn't even use any of this brown, which is fine. But I want them all together. It's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Sometimes I will have an idea for something and the stars will align and everything will just be perfect. Like with this. I already knew exactly what this was going to be when it happened. And it was one of those designs that just appeared. Everything was exactly how it was supposed to work. And it just turned out exactly how it was supposed to turn out. It's not very often that happens. Especially if I don't have, this is a design for myself. This is going to be a release. I don't have a timeline on it. I don't have a deadline on it. I have a timeline in general, but this isn't something that needs to be done by a certain time. So I feel like I have the opportunity to make it exactly what I want, and why would I settle for anything less? That's basically how I work. If I'm working for a magazine or a third party or something, usually I can find a way to make my original idea work, because I kind of have to. But if I don't really have that structure, then I find I can get lost. Not that this is lost, it's just my original idea was not going to work. Not with the colors that I had. Yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. So it's probably going to be one of those things, and I'm going to have to rework a couple times before it finally becomes what it was meant to be. It was like these guys that I've been working on and have. Oh, the pattern for these are almost going to be released too soon. But this was originally, my thought was for a hat. And I even had the stitch pattern picked out, and I had ideas, and I knew exactly what I wanted to look like. It just wasn't the right yarn. And it's kind of this, so the yarn just wanted to be socks. So I made it into socks, and now it's lovely. And I feel like the same thing for this. It's just the idea that I had for it wasn't right. And now I just have to find what the yarn wants to become, which now that I say it sounds ridiculous. But that's exactly how it happens sometimes. Just have to wait for the yarn to tell me what it wants to be. Anyways, so those were my two kind of finished things, but not really. I don't really consider either of them finished, because even though they are technically finished, I'm not done with them yet. And then the only other thing I have is a work in progress, and this is something new. And it is a sock, even though I don't really have any business casting on a sock, because usually I only like to have one sock at a time, and I do have a pair of Coffee Talk socks that I am working on, but those are patterned. And I went to, Georgia had a Pro D Day last Friday, so I took her to see, what did we see? We went and saw Dr. Dolittle, which wasn't a bad movie. It was cute little kids movie, but I wanted something to work on at the movie theater, and vanilla socks is kind of the only thing that I can do. I still had my sweater that I could have worked on because I was still knitting at that point, but there was no way I was bringing a black sweater into a movie theater. So I cast on something new. So the night before, I did the cuff, and then, yeah. So I'm using these yarns here. This top guy, it might look familiar. That is the Red Fox Fiber Wild Sock in Grizzly, and that's the leftovers from my other socks that I just showed you. And this one here is Tiny Human Knits Merino Nylon Fingering, which is a self-striping yarn, and it is called Scrappy Socks in the Woods. And that was a gift from my friend Sam. And the one thing that's really awesome about these skeins is they're 50 grams. So I always find I do contrasting heels and toes and cuffs for pretty much every single pair of self-striping socks I've ever made. And I don't need 100 grams. I only need 50 grams. So it's pretty awesome that she just sells them in 50 grams. So I'm not like, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use all of this. And I'm not going to have any leftovers, which is great. Yeah, so this is what I've been working on. You can see I did the cuff here. And then I've just been knitting. This is just a vanilla sock, just knit, knit, knit. I don't even know how many stitches is on here, 60 something, 64 or 60 on my size 0 Chogu needles. I really love how these stripes are knitting. It's so cute. I'm decided I obviously don't have a heel. So because of the repeats in this, I think they're gonna be different, which is fine. I can do differently striped socks as long as they are super different. Like if it was offset by one stripe, that wouldn't be okay. But if I do 2.5 repeats and then the other is 2.5, but like starts here or something like that, then it's fine because nothing matches up and it looks like it's not supposed to match up. But if it looks like it's supposed to match up and it's just a mistake, no. Anyways, what I've decided to do for these, because I blew through them, they're just so fun to knit. And I can knit while I walk and things like that. I'm going to do a pair of Afterthought Everything socks. And that's not really a pattern that I did, but I made a tutorial on YouTube, which I will link up here and down below as well. And it's called the Afterthought Everything sock. Basically, you knit a whole tube and then chop it up and add all the stuff afterwards. It's a little bit different because I did do the cuff first, but I think I haven't really decided yet how I'm going to do it. But either I'm going to, from this point on, I'm just going to knit this whole ball of yarn into a big long tube. And then either I will add a cuff to the top, so then my striping sequence will be opposite, or I'll cut it and add the cuff later. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. I haven't really thought about it. I'm just having fun knitting this tube. So I think it will be, yeah, it's hard to, because the repeats are so little. It was hard to tell, especially when the cake was bigger, how many repeats it was going to be. And I think it's going to be about 5. Yeah. And I think I'm just going to knit the whole thing, and that's how long my socks are going to be. And they're so cute. I have some more self-striping yarn, and I really need to start working through it. Maybe that's an idea for a summer knit along. Yeah. So that's all for knitting today. I feel like I've been working on lots of things and nothing at all. I don't know how to explain it. As for what's been going on here with me, not much. Took George to a movie. That was fun. She's still not quite big enough to, like, she was having fun, and as we were watching it, she kind of got half an hour in and then started getting bored and antsy. So I just kept feeding her food to keep her occupied. But she's not quite movie ready yet. But she's getting there. Yeah, we did make it through the whole movie. There was a point where I was about to give up and take her home, but we did it. I really want that to be something that we do together. It seems silly, but like Justin doesn't really like going to movies too much, and I really like going to movies. Well, I do. I like going to movies if I want to see the movie. And I think that would be something fun to do because I work from home when she has a pro D day, to go see a movie every once in a while, like go to the matinee on the Friday afternoon. And I don't know, I just like that idea. So we're going to attempt it. I mean, of course, right now we're quite limited by the movies that we can go see, but that's okay. She'll get older and it will just be our thing. That's cool. Other than that, we had Valentine's Day, which was nice. I got this guy, because Justin buys flowers, and then he also adds to my succulent collection every once in a while. He says, I'm going to have to move some of them soon. But I was like, no, probably by the next time. By the next time it's an occasion to buy another one of them will be dead. So I do really like plants. I'm not very good at them. Yeah, and thank you again for everyone who's entered the knit along. Congrats to our winners. One more thing too. In 2 weeks, when we are in Portland, Sam and I are planning to do a YouTube live. So I think you'll be able to watch it on my channel and on hers as well. So watch our Instagram accounts. She's Hand Me My Knitting, and I am Pip and Pin. And if you watch our accounts, you will be able to find out exactly when we're going to do that. We tentatively have it for Saturday night, but I don't know yet. Hopefully we actually are able to do it. But that's part of our plan. We want to do a YouTube live together, and talk about Portland. So that's going to be in 2 weeks. If you're going to Portland, I really hope to see you there. We have a tentative kind of plan for where we're going to be when, but that's something that Sam made, and I've looked at it. I'm definitely I think we're going to be really good travelers together, because she plans things, and she's very, she has a spreadsheet of kind of what our itinerary is, which is amazing. Because I am definitely the kind of go with the flow kind of, let's just do things. And sometimes that's great. Sometimes that means you don't do anything. The majority of the time it's, we forgot to do things. So I think it's going to be really nice to have a plan, but not be with someone, because I know with some people with plans, you really have to stick to the plan. She's not like that. So we have a plan, but our plans might change. But tentatively, I think we're going to be at Starlight on Saturday. I think before lunch, maybe just after lunch. I don't know exactly when. And then the other ones, I don't really know. So not a ton of information, but maybe we'll share our plans a little closer too. So if you do want to come and meet up with us, you know where we'll be. You can also, I really want to be better at Instagram and stories and things like that, especially while we're in Portland. I know with Knit City especially, which is different because I'm working when I'm at Knit City, but I'm really terrible at pictures. I'm really terrible at anything like that. And then the weekend's over and it's like, oh, I took 3 pictures. Literally, I think last Knit City I took 3 pictures. So I think we are both making a conscious effort this trip to take video and pictures and content and things. So maybe there will even be something about Portland. I don't know exactly yet, but that's my goal, is just to do a little bit more. And that's it. That's it for today. I've been babbling for much too long. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't already and you would like to, there's the subscribe button there, and then you can also hit the bell and that will notify you every time I post a new video. And you can give the video a thumbs up too. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great weekend or week or whatever, and I will see you next week. Thanks. Bye.